approved. So that may be another contributing factor. However, folks did come out, and there is a preliminary, and one of the candidates actually is decided to come on by and talk to us. So we want to say good morning and good afternoon and good evening to Joe Murphy, Ward 1 Council candidate. Joe, thanks for coming over.
Oh, pleasure to be here.
Good to talk to you.
Great to have you.
Thank you.
How did it go on the campaign trail?
Well, as a first-time candidate, I would say it was extremely interesting. It was a lot of fun at times. It was tough at times, but it was so educational. I really feel like I got a lot out of it. First thing is I came out with a whole platform of things that I care about. And then through the door knocking and signature process, which is vital, you start to hear what everyone else is caring about. And then you get to merge their concerns with your concerns, and you wind up with an even stronger platform. And that's what the experience between spring and summer and now going into fall was like for me. It's just combining the concerns of my neighbors with my concerns for Quincy and going forward. So,
what did you see, or what did you hear from residents in the ward? What were their main concerns?
Well, I've talked to a lot of people, especially seniors, who are feeling a little squeezed because as property values go up, our property taxes go up. Even if the millage rate doesn't go up, their value of their homes are going up. And so suddenly, through no fault of their own, they're paying sometimes 2 or 3 times more what they used to pay because, thank goodness, the Quincy's doing well in the real estate market where our assets are going up. But for people who are lifers, who don't plan on selling, it's tough. And so I heard a lot of people are saying, I don't know if I can stay. And these are good neighbors. These are good residents we want to keep in the community. And so one thing that was quite obvious through door knocking almost immediately is we need to do something to provide a little bit of relief for some of our longtime residents as far as property tax issues go. Another thing is infrastructure. A lot of people are telling me, they don't really have a sidewalk, or I saw sidewalks crumbling, and this road, this pothole. One neighbor told me that they had been trying to get a street lamp fixed, the bulb changed for months, and they had called everybody. And so I just took it as a test case, and I did it myself. I put in a request, I followed up, I called everybody, and I might have had a little more success saying, hey, I'm also a candidate. I'm going to be talking to a lot of people. We got the street light changed, and then they said, that's great, but now I can't see the street light because the trees have grown in front of it. And so it's just things like that. Services, they want to see some value for their property taxes. And I think a lot of the city has great people working for it. I think they might be a little stretched. And so especially with our park services, we need people to maintain these properties and our infrastructure. We have water mains that are over a century old we're seeing ponding, we're seeing sinkholes. I mean, we had sinkholes last year. I thought that was a Florida thing, So these are the things that are concerned about. And these weren't things that I really focused on when I first announced. But now they're things I am focusing on.
And short-sighted development.
Yes, that is one of my things is people are concerned. They don't, as the sprawl moves into Quincy, they want to make sure that they're not going to see developers putting in incongruous projects that don't really go with the fabric of the neighborhood. Everyone is concerned about that. Ward 1 has been lucky in most parts when it comes to that, but we want to keep it that way. We want development. We want smart, strategically placed development so that we can grow and grow our economy, but we also want to keep what makes Ward 1 and Quincy, these wonderful neighborhoods that people have been in for generations.
Was there kind of an aha moment, Joe, when you said, that's it, I'm going to run, I'm going to try and make things better for my community?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm one of those people that was inspired by the fall election. Good or bad, I think a lot of people felt like, you know what, it's one thing to post articles on Facebook and argue with your friends on Facebook, but I'm going to get involved. I'm going to see. And I love the idea of being a city councilor. I want to be a ward councilor, especially because I love the idea of you're not just dealing with these big city issues, you're also helping people who need an enclosed porch or a new deck. And these are things that can impact people on a direct basis, And so I decided to get involved. I have a lot of respect for our government, but I think there's some priorities are out of whack, and I think we need a little more checks and balances as well.
And Ward 1 specifically is a waterfront community.
Yes.
So talk about that, and just talk about maybe the expansion of recreational use for the water.
Well, that's something I'm hoping we can do more of. we benefited from our incumbent city councilor, Margaret Forrest, who is probably the biggest coastal expert I've encountered. You know, she knows it in and out. And so one thing we got to worry about is our flood zones and stuff like that, the FEMA maps, and those are still issues that we're going to have to deal with. But also, we have this wonderful coastline, and I'd like to see us maybe put in track businesses to do kayak rentals or guided tours around the Boston Harbor, our part of Boston Harbor, maybe some fishing charters, stuff like that. I'd like to make it a hopping coastal community, you know, stuff you'd see in some other coastal communities, because it's gorgeous here.
There's a plan, too, for a brand-new maritime center. The renderings look amazing. Is that something you support?
Well, I support it conceptually.
Okay.
I love the look of it. I think it would be wonderful. But as I spoke of earlier, from door knocking, I realized that it might just be a little too soon to focus on such a luxurious project until we get our roads and our water mains and some other, like, for instance, I don't think we spend enough on roads. You know, we use the Chapter 90, $2 million a year. That comes to like one road per ward. I would suggest maybe for the next few years we supplement that with local funds and really get our streets in order, you know, and get our sidewalks in order. Those are bigger priorities to me than the wonderful maritime center we're looking at.
Of course, part of Ward 1 does encompass Quincy Center, where there's a huge renaissance going on. Do you think the city is on the right track downtown? Yeah,
I want to see even more diverse businesses brought in, though. I'm hoping, like I said in my video here on QATV, I wouldn't mind us, like, let's get some ghost tours. Let's take advantage of our history. Ghost tours, you know, like things tours, like where we can get people to come in, do an activity, stay for dinner, that type of thing. We don't have any theater in Quincy. We're sometimes a little bit too much of a commuter town. We're getting these nice restaurants in, which is great, but I would like to bring in some activities that attract people to the city, shopping, activities like that, and then let them stay for the great cuisine we're building up. So yeah, I think we can do a little more even in Quincy Center.
Okay, Joe. Appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Okay.
Thanks for coming by.
Well, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Keep an eye on the results here
I will.
at QATV, and maybe we'll be talking again in the future.
I would love it. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Joe.
All right. As we continue our coverage here,